Hello everybody, this is Michelle Fox and welcome back to The Simple Quilter. Today's topic is all about using what you have. Now originally I had planned for this to be a video about orphan blocks, and the blocks I used were in my orphan block box, but they were kind of like pieces of blocks. But I want to show you what I've done with just some little blocks that I had in my orphan block box. Now the story goes back a bit. You know, my husband Wes has asked me to make him a table runner. Well, he doesn't call it a table runner, he just says a mat. So I guess I need to be careful with my terminology, but he wants a mat for his man cave, for his workbench, and he wants it to be 18 inches by 42 inches. So I thought, well, I'm going to see what's in my orphan block box and see if I can do a video on using orphan blocks. So I'm going to show you what I've come up with. Now, I have to say that I have discovered that I really like this part of quilting. I really like designing quilts or projects. So let me show you here. This is my orphan block box. Orphan blocks, can you see the label on there? Orphan blocks. And when I opened this, I ended up having a bunch of half square triangles. This box is a mess. A bunch of half square triangles, and I had some pinwheel blocks. So I thought I would make his mat out of these pinwheel blocks. So I got him out and I said, "Hey Wes, do you like these pinwheel blocks?" And he told me no, he didn't really like those. He liked the color, but he did not like the pinwheels. So I said, okay, well, do you like this? Do you like the flying geese pattern? And he said, oh yeah, I like that. So what I've decided to do, I decided to use these blocks to make these half square triangles to make a flying geese pattern. Okay, so let me show you. I decided to try to use my electric quilt 8 and I had to be careful because I'm not really great at using this, and that's why I don't use it very much, but I need to continue to learn. So this is kind of what I came up with. Now, these aren't really the colors I'm going to be using, and my printer didn't print out the colors very nicely, but you get the general idea of my diagram. So I'm going to have these flying geese, a little border using this fabric, and then I was going to just take these, blocks from these scraps in this box all around here. But I didn't think I would have enough blocks, and I thought, well, what if I cut these down into half square triangles, and in place of these I could cut these down into half square triangles. So that's what I intend to do here. And let me show you what I've gotten done so far. Okay, and I think this has turned out pretty nice. So far, here's the main piece of this mat. Okay. And so far, he really likes it. But then what I've decided to do, because I want to use what I have, I'm going to cut these little pieces down into smaller half square triangles. And I'm going to line them up all along the edge somewhat like this. And then I think right here, I'll add probably a red border or navy blue border, or maybe even this same cream, I'm not for sure. And then I'm going to put a binding on it. But I just wanted to show you what you can do with your leftover orphan blocks. Now, let me show you some other blocks in this terrible mess I have here. And I'm hoping when I get done with this, it's going to look a lot better. Okay, so I ran across some, oh, see, I have some nice blocks in here. I have some log cabin blocks. I have some square in a square block. See, I'm going to cut those up and use those. And I'm really just going to try to use as much of these as I can. And I had, see, I'm going to cut all these down into smaller half square triangles and use those around the edges. Here's some more. There's another light. And I'm just going to do my best to use up these pieces. Now, here's another pinwheel. Now, these, I've got another idea in mind for these, but here's just some orphan blocks. In the comments below, be sure to tell me if you have orphan blocks. And if so, what is your favorite way to use them? Do you turn them into quilts? Or, here's some nice little 4-patch blocks. What do you do? Another little small square and a square. What do you do with your orphan blocks? Now, recently I was reading a new magazine, and in there it had some comments, some tips from years and years ago. And you know, I always make a test block when I'm getting ready to make a video, like for the mug rugs. I always do test blocks, and they had a great suggestion in there. They said to make your test blocks all in the same fabrics. So I may pick out some fabrics that I like for different test blocks, and then I will have lots of blocks that match. Because, oh yeah, see, here are some bear paw blocks. Now, these bear paw blocks aren't going to match that. So, but if I had used these fabrics for this, that I might have had some. And then I just have, there's, oh, what is that called? A shoe fly. And here's some star blocks. But I may have to do another video on more star blocks. But I just wanted to show you and encourage you to use what you have. So get in your orphan block box, or do you save things like this? Do you save the half square triangles? Where do you put them? Tell me about it in the comments below. I'm curious to know. Or once you've made a quilt, do you just get rid of all these pieces? Well, I'm going to put them to good use with this project, and I'm going to work on this project a little bit, and then I'll come back and show you the finished top. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of sewing, maybe a little bit more creating, and then when I get this done, either today or tomorrow, I'm going to show you what I've come up with just by using what I had. Okay, so it is a couple of days later. You can tell I'm dressed differently than I was, it seems like just a few minutes ago, but I've been doing some sewing, and I want to show you what I finished up on Wes's bench runner. I'm not going to call it a table runner. It's going to be a bench runner. Okay, and here you go. I really, really like how it turned out. And I decided I had just a few of these, and I decided to add those yellows as a pop of color and the golds, and I really like how it turns out. And the best thing is he likes how it turns out. Well, and I have to tell you, I had a bunch more blocks, and so I asked him if he needed another one. He said he'd like one a little bit shorter. So right here you can see I'm putting together another one. And I'm really trying to use up everything from that quilt that I made him. Let me show you the quilt. Now here's the quilt I had made Wes. And I had made this quite some time ago. And these are all leftovers from this quilt. And I have to say, he's really been excited about this little project. So let me give you a little bit closer view of this. Okay, so as you can see, here was my original diagram that I drew on my EQ8. And originally, this piece out here was going to be light. I changed that to a navy blue and really like the outcome of that. And then here, instead of using solid pieces of squares that I had to cut, I decided just to cut down all these half square triangles that I had. And these again were used for the flying geese. And then I trimmed them each one down to 2.5 inches, and those became the little border pieces. So the moral of the story is, don't forget to use those leftover things that you have from your quilts, because this turned out beautiful, and it was quick and easy to make because I already had all the half square triangles cut. Now it did take a little bit of time to trim these down, but I think the overall outcome is pretty fantastic. Plus I have the one up on the wall. Okay, so I wanted to show you what I still have left. I don't know why I saved these. I don't like working with pieces this small, and these may end up in my dog bed, or I may put them in a little bag for another quilter who likes to work with small half square triangles. I'll probably do that instead of put them in my dog bed, because those are actually pretty nice little half square triangles. These pieces are pieces that I'll probably just use for my leaders and enders. And then I have just some flying geese that I put together. And I still have all these squares. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I am going to hold on to this. You know, I might make him another drainer strainer mat. Or, I don't know. But these are just some little things that I have left. These will go in my scrap bins. And then I wanted to show you what I have left in my orphan block box. Now these, I was going to make a doll quilt for one of my granddaughters that matches her baby quilt, and I think I'm going to do that for use here at our house. And then these were leftover blocks from another quilt I made Wes, and I'm going to hold on to those. I'm not ready to let those go yet. And there's some flying geese. And you know, I've decided to keep all the red, blue, and white, because I'm going to start making my test blocks out of red, blue, and white, so that I can use those to make maybe a sampler quilt later. I'm going to keep these rust ones, and there's the bear paws. I'm going to keep those, but this little, my orphan block container looks so much nicer. Okay, so be sure to put those quilt leftovers to good use. It's a good way to make a quick, easy project. Like I said, the outcome is really pretty fantastic, I think. And the best thing is Wes is very excited about it. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Please share with a friend. And as always, leave a comment. I love to get the comments and try to reply to each and every one. So until next time, have fun quilting.